Greetings, everyone. Thank you all for tuning in and welcome to another edition of Female Barber Talk with Yah-Tay. I am your host, Yah-Tay Keaton, the barber educator. And tonight we have another episode in our 10-part series of Think Like a Barber, Foundation, Focus, and Execution. All right. So this is actually video number 2, but it is episode 70. So as we prepare to get into this episode, I want to welcome everyone. Thank you all for joining. Those of you who are catching this uh, podcast, a live stream on the replay, thank you for taking time out of your day to replay this broadcast. To those of you who are new on the live stream, I thank you as well. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and share this with a younger barber, someone who is considering the industry, someone who is new in the industry, and any of the students, because it's great information. And if you pull out the barber aspect of it, you can still take and use some of this content because it's evergreen and it can be used in any other area as well. At least I try to make it that way. I also want to say I am getting better at maximizing AI. Tonight you'll see that I've added some what we would call presentation images. So I've been working on this. But nonetheless, tonight's episode is number 70. It is entitled "See It Before You Cut It: Visualizing the Outcome." So you can change the word "cut" to something else, but either way, you have to see it before you do it. You have to imagine it before you can bring it to fruition. So you're basically visualizing the outcome. You see how I switched that up? But anywho, most mistakes don't happen because of our hands. Oftentimes they happen because of lack of vision. If you can't see the haircut, or if you can't see what it is that you're envisioning before you start, you spend the whole time or your whole service. In this case, we're talking about haircuts, but you spend your whole service reacting instead of executing. Professional barbers don't just cut, they envision the cut. They see the cut before they do it, especially if they know, well, they have to know what it is if they've done the consultation, which is the first video that we did. The consultation is the cut before the cut. If you haven't seen that, check it out. It's episode number 69. Anywho, like I was saying, professional barbers don't just cut, they visualize, they envision the cut. They already know where they're going before the first guideline. So when that customer sits in the chair, they haven't, they give them what they want. Okay, let me make sure that I got y'all in the right frame here. I'll go ahead and take this out so we can see. Got you in the right frame here. It's because on Instagram, it's the window is a little smaller, but I want y'all to see this head here. Anywho, um, they have already visualized the cut based on what the client has said they wanted. So today we're training our eyes, or your eyes and mine, so your hands can follow with purpose. Let's see here. I got to get this title up as well, y'all. I'm a little slow today. I'm a little slow. Hey, WK, thank you for joining. Greatly appreciate it. You're going to get some barber education tonight. But thank you for joining. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you to those of you who are tuning in as well. Once again, tonight's episode is episode 70. It's number 2 in a 10-part series of Think Like a Barber, Foundation, Focus, and Execution. This is where skills meet structure and structure builds professionalism. So as I was saying, today we're training your eyes and your mind to see. We're training your eyes and mind so your hands can follow with purpose in the cut. I always have 3 points. I'm going to get through the 3 points, share some examples. Tonight, I have some visuals along with, I don't know what we're going to call him. What y'all want to call him? He's the guideline, man. You know, high, medium, low, uh, drop fade, medium fade, high fade. And then we got our new buddy. This is the one. He doesn't have a beard. I don't know what we're going to name him, but y'all come up with something. This is our new buddy. This isn't the one with the beard that we was talking about on the first consultation. So our first point tonight is start with the end in mind. So basically, you want to envision what the end is going to look like. So in starting with the end in mind, let's put up this first one. And starting with the end in mind, you want to ask yourself, can you describe the final look? If you can't describe the final look, you're not ready to cut. So when that client comes in, you've had the consultation, i.e., the first point in the first video, number 69 of this series. You do the consultation. Once you've gotten hey, thank you for joining, LaDosha, I appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. We're doing a new series, as I shared with the audience. We're doing a new series called Think Like a Barber, Foundation, Focus, and Execution. I'm getting my educator skills on here. But nonetheless, we're on point one and starting with the end in mind. The purpose of starting with the end in mind is to visualize, to be able to visualize the cut. You want to be able to visualize what it is the client wants so that you can execute it, okay? So when starting with the end in mind, visualization is about clarity. You should not be able, hold on. Y'all, my eyes bad. My eyes, no, I'm not going to say that. My eyes are good. I put some, I got to tell y'all this. So I use jojoba oil on my face. After I clean it, I take a little bit of jojoba oil and put it on my face. And I think what I do when I go over my eyes like this here, I get a little bit in my eyes. So it impacts me being able to see. Anywho, as I mentioned, if you can't describe the final look, you're not ready to cut, which means you probably haven't done a great consultation so that you are able to describe the final look. So visualization is about clarity. You should be able to verbally explain the haircut before you begin. Who are you verbally explaining it to? You're verbally explaining the haircut to the client. You're rephrasing or restating back to them what it is that they desire, what it is that they want or need for that matter. So, in visualizing it, you have to have the end in mind before you get started, because if you don't, you're going to mess up somewhere. For real, you're going to mess up. So with that, the first thing you should be able to visualize and explain about the haircut before you begin is the length on top, tightness on the side. Are they going to taper it? They're going to do a ball fade, a ball taper. They're going to do a light taper. They're going to do a dark taper. What is it that they're going to do with the sides and the back? You got to know that. So in looking at the length on the top, how long do they want the top? How long do they want it to be? In this case, with our little buddy right here, I think I'm going to just say he just came out of some braids. He don't know if he want to go back in, get some comb coils, some twisted sis, or what. But either way, you want to look at the length on the top. You want to look at the sides. Do he want to taper like this gentleman shown in this picture? Do he want to taper? Do he want the taper to be bald? Do he want it to be light? What does he want? The fade level. Is it going to be high? My mentor helped me out with this. Shout out to Mr. Ronnie. Is it going to be high? Is it going to be medium? Is it going to be low? And I want to share this with you when you're looking at the fade levels. Everybody's head shape is different. So high on one person may look totally different on somebody else. The same with low and medium. So depending on the head shape of the individual and what they're requesting, you're going to check for high, medium, and low. If they want a high fade, it's going to be up here. They want a medium fade, is usually about the temple level. So you want to look at that individual's temple, get it equal on both sides. Now I want to say this for y'all newbies, we're not 100% symmetrical, but based on where the eyes sit, the ears, you want to use this as your measuring point, okay? You want to use that as your measuring point to ensure that it's equal. It looks symmetrical on both sides, all right? So with that, you want to determine if it's going to be a high, medium, a low fade, all right? And the next thing you want to do is the shape. Is it boxy, like a high top fade? Do they want it rounded or do they want to keep it natural? If they want to keep it natural, are they sponging? You know, I got to share with y'all. So when I go to see Brandon to get my hair cut, all I do is my C-cup and my bars. That's it. I like to keep it natural across the front. So for me, she don't touch the front. She put in my bars, throw my line in, and then do my C-cup. And I got to tell y'all, Brandon know this. I sleep with my glasses on, y'all. So the arms of my glasses are starting to rub out my hair here. So what we do to make it look like it's faded, we use that and fade it in. But with that, that's how she cuts my hair. Bars, we taper it out. So basically, I get a bald taper starting here because I'm thinning, because Yah-Tay sleep with her glasses on. Why do Yah-Tay sleep with her glasses on? Because I want to see time I open my eyes. I don't want to be scrambling, but in all honesty, y'all, sometimes I take them off and lay them on the side of the bed. But either way, I can get to them quickly. And you notice they pretty sturdy. But anywho, let's get to this. Let me look at these comments here. LaDosha, hey, thank you for joining. I did say hi to you. I'm reading the comments. Let's name him Mannequin Buddy. Which one? This one or this one, Mannequin Buddy? Got to tell me which one, Mannequin Buddy. All right. He is my Mannequin Buddy. Somebody laughing, LaDosha laughing about that. I like the way you emphasize looks symmetrical. It is. We are not 100% symmetrical. So you want to use the features on the face, the temples, the eyes, eyebrows, the top part of the forehead. You want to look at all of that to ensure when you're cutting an individual's hair, depending on the fade style that they want, high, medium, and low, you want to look at those points and ensure that you're touching the same point on one side as you are the other side. You can look at your hands and tell one may be a little bit bigger than the other. Your legs, one may be a little bit bigger than the other. And I can get into some other body parts where you know that one is probably a tad bit bigger than the other. But nonetheless, these are just tips that you can use to ensure that your haircut comes out looking as symmetrical as possible, because we're not 100% symmetrical. Let's see. What LaDosha said, the dark one should name the dark one Buddy, and light one Pretty Ricky. Okay. And you know what, LaDosha, I gotta my favorite uncle, no knock to my other uncles, and that's only because I my uncle that I'm talking about, he pretty much raised me in my formative years. But nonetheless, his nickname is Ricky, but we call him Charles. So you say this Pretty Ricky, okay, Pretty Ricky, with the lines in his head, and this here is Buddy. So we got the names. This Buddy and this Pretty Ricky. Pretty Ricky gonna give us the lines and tell us how it go. This Buddy ain't had his hair combed. He came straight out the box, Buddy, straight out the box here. But anyway, we're gonna utilize him to support this this learning, this live stream here on See It Before You Cut It, visualize the outcome. Right, Pretty Ricky, Pretty Ricky. So just a quick recap on point one. You want to start with the end in mind. All right, start with the end in mind. Look at the length on top, the tightness of the size. Do they want ball, light, dark, high, medium, low? You got to take all of that into consideration. With the fade again, high, medium, low. Ensure, I won't say be sure, ensure when you're setting up, especially your first guideline, ensure that you are creating the line where it's symmetrical on both sides. Use those facial points, the eye, the temple, your eyebrows, whatever it is you need, top of the ear, the lobe of the ear, whatever it is that you're using to measure to ensure that the cut is symmetrical, keep that, use that, and make it a priority, all right? The last thing is the shape. Is it boxy? Is it round? Is it natural? I keep mine natural. My front lineup is always natural except for my bars and my C cup. I told y'all why we ball out right here, because my eyeglass arms, they rubbing it out. That's because I'm sleeping in it, but that's something I got to deal with. It's all right. So if you can't explain it, you can't execute it with consistency. So you want to be able to explain it verbally to your client, because when you're able to explain the cut that they desire verbally, you'll be able to execute it. All right. So instead of saying, I'm about to do a fade, you want to share with them a mid, it's going to be a mid fade. We're going to keep weight at the crown, and we're going to texture it on top or have a natural front. Like I have a natural front. I use the sponge to texture it at the top, or I do a combination of 2-strand twist and Bantu knot at night after I've combed it out. And then I get up, loosen it, take my pick, put it in there, lift it up so the parts don't show. And then I take my either rubber sponge or hand sponge. Honestly, I like the hand sponge, but I do use both of them, and I sponge it to get it to stand up. So use that, share with the client what it is that they repeat back to them, what it is that they want. That way you're showing that you can explain it and you can execute the cut with consistency. So describe what you're going to do to the client, all right? And this is with intentions. Let's see here. WK says, I like the name Buddy LaDosha. Oh, Lord. We got to come up with a male version of Buddy LaDosha. We got to come up with a male version, because this is a male mannequin. You can tell the difference in the facial features. All right, this is a male mannequin, so we got to come up. We got to come up with a version of LaDosha's name for the male. All right, we got to come up with that. So once again, point one is about starting with the end in mind. Okay, Just a quick recap on what that is. Give me a second here, y'all. I got some folks tapping in. Thank you, my Instagram viewers. Appreciate y'all. So number one, you want to start with the end in mind. You want to your visualization is about clarity. You should be able to verbally explain the haircut before you begin. And some points that you want to consider, and starting with the end of mind, is the length on top. We got our buddy here. We coming up with a male version of LaDosha. Oh, y'all, I gotta share something with y'all. Speaking on those lines, I tell y'all a revelation that I had this past week when I went to the VA. Anywho, let me get this first point out. I share that, and then we'll get into the second point. And it has to do with the male version of LaDosha, the name. Let's get to it. So start with the end in mind. Visualize it. Visualization is about clarity. So you want to visualize what the end is going to look like. And some things that you want to consider is the length on top, the tightness on the sides. How do they want their size? Okay. I've shared with you all how I get my size done and why I get them done that way. So we are problem solvers as barbers too, and stylists as well, and braiders. So I won't forget about y'all. And then the fade level with Pretty Ricky over here. Is it high, medium, or low? Is it going to be dropped or not? You got to look at the head shape too. All right. Look at those features. Use those features on each side to assist you with symmetry and ensuring the haircut looks symmetrical. All right. And the last point is shape. Is it going to be boxy? Is it going to be round? Is it going to be natural? Remember, if you cannot explain it, don't start it. If you can't explain it, don't start it. Get clarity first before you jump into the cut. Visualize it. Get the end in mind. Start with the end in mind. And that's going to be with intentions. All right. So to get to this name here, what she say? Oh la la. Oh, ooh la la. Yeah. Okay, so I gotta share this with y'all. So I had to go to the VA last week to see my primary care provider and then podiatry. If y'all haven't been following my stories, I have a stress fracture on my left foot. But anywho, I have been having a lot of swelling. So when I left out of my primary care appointment to go back to reschedule for my next appointment, I was talking with this young lady, and I could tell she was trying to say my first name because her mouth was all kind of, yeah. Anywho, she was trying to say my first name. So when I said it, she was like, well, how did you get that name? And I shared with her the story that I've heard as it relates to my mom. I don't know why when I was younger, I didn't ask how they, well, let me say this. I do know that my mother and her best friend, which was my godmother, used to like scary movies, thrillers, anything along those lines. They like movies, period. But their favorite movies were scary pictures, thrillers, suspense, stuff like that. So I was telling the young lady that my mom and my godmother were watching a movie and they saw the name in the credits. So the young lady said, oh, really? I said, I don't know, but I don't know what the name was. I don't know if it was a name that they saw. And then they said, well, we'll spell it like this. She went on the internet, pulled up the name of an actor in the 70s, well, in the 70s, 80s, 90s, during that time that I was born. Y'all, the name, and some of y'all may know him and some of y'all may not. But let me pull it up really quick. I'm gonna pull it up and share it. Y'all give me a second to Google it, because I want to share it with y'all and show it to y'all. Let me get the name. Before I say it, I'm gonna pull it up. Because when I saw this, y'all, I got chills, and it was a revelation for me that this was the individual that my mom and my godmother duplicated my name after. So let me pull it up before I say it. We're going to, let me see, I got to share screen, and we're going to share the screen, and I'm going to share it right now. Okay, y'all. So this is the gentleman. His name was Yaphet Kotto, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. He was born November 15, 1938, and he transitioned just a few years ago. When she showed me this, I was like, wow, check this out. What I learned, some of the movies he was in, right? Live and Let Die, Midnight Run, Across 110th Street. Y'all see that year? 1972. I was born in 1972. And of course, he's been in more movies. And of course, as an actor in these movies, his name shows up in the credit. So when she shared that with me, I knew without a shadow of a doubt that this was the individual. It resonated with me. And here it is, 38 years, my mom and my godmother has been gone. And I remember asking my godmother before she passed about it. She couldn't remember a whole lot of it. She just told me they were watching a movie and they saw the name in the credits. And it was like, well, this is what we're going to name her. And I'm going to say this. I'm so glad that they didn't name me what my dad wanted to name me. I would tease my dad. I don't know if this was a joke or not, but my dad's mother had a best friend, and her name was Johnny May. He said, yeah, I was going to name you Johnny May. And I'm like, and I would have changed that name. Johnny May. I said, were you for real? He was like, yeah. And I'm like, yeah, right. But anywho, I just got this revelation this past week when I went to the VA. Just so happened to be talking to this young lady, and she shared the gentleman. She's very well versed in Afrocentric culture, because I told her, I said, the name is African. I knew a gentleman in the military who I checked in one year when he came to Cecilfield. His name was Yah-Tay. I've never knew about the actor. I never knew about him. But I will say this, without a shadow of a doubt, when she said it and showed it to me, I knew that was it. I knew it. I knew it. So here I am at 54 years old, just now making that connection. And when I tell y'all, it's like another me. I can't even tell y'all how that felt. Sitting there. Um, I'm emotional now thinking about it. But it's been great. So in the Indian language, it's pronounced Yataye, and it's a form of greeting. Hello, hi. That it's a form of greeting. But nonetheless, that's that's it right there, y'all. That's it. And I just found this out last week. Yaphet Koto, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. He was an actor. Yeah, yeah. Yaphet Frederick Koto was an American actor, for film and television. So yes, I finally found out. So look, we got to get a male version of LaDosha name for Buddy. All right, we got Pretty Ricky here. We got Pretty Ricky. Let me take this off and clear that out. We got Pretty Ricky. Y'all got to come up with the male version of LaDosha. So that's what we're gonna call him, Buddy L, until we get the name. So let's get into the second point. Thank y'all for allowing me to share that. I just had that revelation this past week. And also, if y'all are not following my stories, I had another situation happen since we're talking about this. And then I'll get into the last 2 points. I promise y'all I'm going to get into the last 2 points. So if you're not following my stories, yesterday I attended the Black Expo. A friend of mine came down from Charleston to go to the expo, and I was like, okay, I'll go with her. So I took time off yesterday, and we had a whole day where we ate. We got up, we chit chatted because she came in early yesterday morning. We chit chatted, got breakfast, headed down to the fairground, the state fairground where the event was being held, and we was there for most of the day. And then I ran some errands because there were some things that I needed to get done. And of course, we had dinner, came back, relaxed. I had to prop my foot up because it was swollen. I got to tell y'all, it was so swollen. It felt like my calf on my left foot was going to explode. But I got the swelling down. Anywho, um, we met a lot of people, but I had an opportunity to meet Megan Good Majors and Jonathan Majors. I've been honestly been fascinated with how they've been able to withstand everything that he's gone through. She's been a great friend to him, and then it became their partnership, and now they're married. In that, you can see the genuineness and the love that they have for one another. They are down to earth people. Um, I've met a lot of celebrities. I gotta tell y'all, they were so down to earth and mingling with everybody to the point when I went past their booth, because they have a apparel line. When I went past their booth, people didn't even recognize them. But of course, they had on their apparel, items. Megan had on the bucket hat. He had on one of their hats. And she didn't have on shades, but he did. But nonetheless, I recognized him right away. Anywho, people started coming up to the booth. When I tell y'all, they were very personable. They were very it's like they somebody on the block. Just they were cool. So I end up buying one of their hoodies. They had not released it officially on the internet. However, they released it there at the expo. So they were selling a lot. Hold on, let me grab it for y'all. So I purchased their hoodie, and I like hats too. And I end up getting their hat, two of them. So they had this one, sort of a gray looking one, and then a black one. I instantly thought I'm gonna go with the lighter color because I wanted them to autograph it. It just popped in my head. I just wanted them to autograph it. So um, I end up borrowing somebody's Sharpie so that they could autograph it. But they did autograph my hoodie. Both of them did. And underneath the logo on the front, I asked Jonathan if he would put Yah-Tay the Barber Stylist on it. So it's like if I had my smock on, y'all know my smocks. Y'all seen my smocks where I have my name and then my title on it. It's their logo. It's called Honor Culture and then my name. So they autographed it and it says with honor and love. That's Jonathan Major's signature. And then this is Megan Good Major signature. And it says with honor, we love you on the back. Yeah. And I just got some lip gloss on it, but it's all good. So they signed that. And then I got this one and this one. I love the camouflage, so I got this one. It reminds me of military, so I picked this one up too. But nonetheless, I had that done. So that's what I did this weekend, and that's the experience I had at the Black Expo and what I learned about my name last week. So let's get into part two, and I'm gonna go ahead and get through this and close it out. I've had enough excitement. y'all join me with all of this news today. What you say? Dope. Dosha says dopeness. How special? Yeah. I was just like, man. Let me. They were really, really down to earth. I also saw D1, Lance, the dude Lance Groves. I think that's his last name, from the House of Pain. He was there, and it was a few other people there as well. But they both signed it for me. Hold on, I'm gonna send this. Give me a second, y'all, so that y'all can see this here really quick. Very personable. Their staff, their people that was with them, everybody was just cool. All right, so let me pull it up real quick for y'all. Let's pull it up really quick. Yeah. All righty. If you're tuning in, you have joined episode number 70. We're talking about seeing it before you cut, visualizing the outcome. Right now, I'm doing a little side note to share my weekend and what I also found out in reference to my name. I've known for years that my mother and her best friend, my godmother Shirley Bivens was her last name, liked to watch thriller movies. They like to watch scary movies, suspense movies, anything along those lines. Well, um, I found out that moms and my godmother, the relation to my name and the story behind it, that they saw it in some credits. I was at the VA, shared with the young lady that whole scenario, and she ended up um, telling me about this gentleman who was an actor named Yah-Tay Koto, and he recently transitioned in 2021. But I also shared my weekend with Mr. and Mrs. Majors, and I'm going to share this image. That was Jonathan signing the front or the back. I'm not sure which one it was, but he was signing that one. And then this is Megan signing the back as well. So they both put their signature on, and that's the bucket hat that they carry in their line, which will be launching like really soon on the website. But nonetheless, let's get into number 2. Let's take this off. Let's remove that. Let's take it off. I gotta hide it. Hide it. There we go. There we go. I appreciate y'all patience with me. This past week has been eventful, a little, trying, but nonetheless, through it all, I'm grateful. So point 2 of the 3 points that I have with see it before you cut, visualize the outcome. Number 1 was start with end in mind. Number 2 is break the head into sections. So when you're preparing for the cut, first you're going to start with the end in mind, and then you're going to break the head down into sections. Let me put up this image here. Thank God for ChatGPT helping me get my images together so I can have some visuals to share. It makes it a lot easier in terms of communicating the points and also for discussion. But nonetheless, this is point 2. You want to break the head into sections. And those of us who style and barber, we know about the different sections for the hair, whether we braiding, and I'm gonna say braiders too, whether we braiding, we cutting, we styling, we sectioning to put perm rods in, rollers in. We got to know this. So you got the top. First, well, let me back up. You want to break the head into sections and stop looking at the haircut as one job. You want to break it into parts. You don't want to look at it in its entirety in terms of the final look. Of course you want to do that, but as you prepare to cut the hair, you don't want to cut the head. Cut the hair, you want to break it down into sections and know what it is you're doing in those particular sections. So one head has multiple zones. And as I mentioned in the first point, all heads are not the same. We are not symmetrical, even exactly on all sides with that. So I shared that you want to use certain points within the face to ensure that you get a symmetrical cut and to help you with your guidelines. So one head, multiple zones. You have the top, you got the sides, you have the hairline, you got the crown and the nape of the area, the nape of the head. So with the nape, oftentimes guys get it tapered, they get it either ball taper in the back, light taper. Some of them keep their hair, maybe they're sponging it out. Whatever it is, you want to know what goes on in each section, especially with that hairline, because the hairline is the most important part. All right. So with that, you want to stop, look at the haircut as one job, but you want to break it into parts. What is the top going to look like? Do they want a front shape up? In my case, I don't want that front line. I just want my bars and my C cup. All right. Are they getting their sides tapered? Are they keeping the top? The crown, of course, are they going to do a drop fade? They're going to do a high ball fade. They're going to do a light fade. You know, what is it they're going to do? Low, medium, high. They're getting a high ball fade. They're getting a drop fade. And depending on where that occipital bone is, that's where you're gonna drop it. You're gonna bring it up. What are you gonna do back here? You're gonna taper it out. You need to know all of that as it relates to that haircut. So you break it down into sections. And some people fade in sections. I've tried it, but personally, I like to set my guideline and I go around the head that way. Next guideline, go around the head that way. Some people fade in sections. They'll do this section, they'll do this section, and then they'll do this section. And what I mean by fade in sections and do a section, they'll completely start and finish the cut in this section, carry that around to the back, start and finish that section, and then complete the side, start and finish that section. Me, I just like to take my guideline all the way around. And another good tip is to start here and set your guideline. This is just a tip. Not all people do it, but I do it so that I can see where that head shape is and begin to set my line evenly on both sides. And before I come on here, I face off and I may tap and make sure it looks symmetrical, and then connect the dots here and connect the dots here. But I'm always turning and looking. And using my mirror. We're going to talk about that too. So for point 2, you want to break the head in sections. Stop looking at the haircut as one job and break it down into parts. And again, I've shared, you got the hairline, you got the top, you got the sides, you got the crown, you have the nape area. So each section has its own purpose, and you want to know what that purpose is. When you don't section mentally, you jump around, you lose consistency, or you get off task, and sometimes you overcut and you can't fix it. Or, well, I won't say you can't fix it. The haircut may change from what it's supposed to originally look like to something that the client may not have necessarily wanted, because you're jumping around and you're losing consistency, or you're not being consistent and staying on task as it relates to where you are in that fade or in that cut. So overcutting and trying to fix it. Now you're getting into that scenario. But then you'll be done messed up by then. So with that, you want to break the head down into sections, or break the cut down into sections, because once again, each section has a purpose. All right. So when you don't section the head mentally, what end up happening is you jump around or you lose consistency, and you don't want to do that. So begin with the end in mind. Break the head down into sections. Each section has a purpose. All of those sections that you see there, they all have a purpose. Know what the purpose is and execute. Finish what you start, then move with intentions. And like I said, I fade around, set that guideline, and I keep keep that as I go to the next guideline. Some people fade in sections. Whatever the system is and it works for you, use that. Okay. I'm not telling you to fade from top to bottom, bottom to top, section here, or all the way around. What I am saying is know what each section's purpose is, work your system, and be intentional about it. Okay. So you don't have to go back and forth or jump around and lose consistency. So if the side isn't finished, don't run to the top because it looks off. It's gonna look like that. And what I tell my clients when they're sitting in the chair, it's gonna look ugly before it starts to transform. That's just like cleaning up. You start to clean up and you pulling out stuff, it gets messier before it gets better because you're reorganizing, you're pulling stuff out, you might be getting rid of some stuff. But whatever it is, you got a new vision for the space and you want to declutter or remove some things and reorganize. With a haircut, you want to ensure, one, you got the right cut. Break it in sections and work your system, okay? And know that each section has a purpose, all right? So that's point number 2. Finish what you start and then move with intentions. So if you start on the side, you go to the back, you finish the side, all right? If that's not your system and you put in your guidelines, use your guidelines, all right? Work with intentions, work with purpose. Don't jump around or you'll lose consistency. Be intentional, all right? Be intentional. The third point is stop cutting, start building. I guess you're like, what you mean stop cutting, start building? Let's put up this last point here, okay? Add this to the stage. Stop cutting and start building. Every cut should be placed and intentional. So when you got them clippers, I should have brought mine. When you got them clippers in hand, you want to ensure that you're placing it properly and being intentional, not random or sporadic. Okay? You want to be intentional. You're not just removing hair, you're building a shape and creating the customer's hair vision. All right? Every pass of the clipper should also answer these questions. And I have them here. Hold on, y'all. I can't see that small one, so I got to pull it up, make it bigger for me. Okay. All right. So stop cutting and start building. You're not just removing hair, you're building a shape. Every pass of the clipper should answer these questions. What am I removing? What am I removing? What are you removing? Be intentional with every stroke. Another question it should answer, the clipper should answer when you pass, with every pass of the clipper, you should also be answering, why are you removing it? Why are you removing that hair? Every move should have a purpose, once again. And another question that every pass of the clipper should answer is, how does this connect to the next step? And ultimately to the finished vision of the haircut. How does this connect? What am I removing? Why am I removing it? And how does this connect to the next step? So for our newbies, slow it down. Make sure that every pass of your clippers are answering these 3 questions. Why are you removing it? What are you removing? Why are you removing it? And how does it connect to your next step? in the fading process. Okay, so an example of this is a barber may say, I'll fix it later. Get into the cut, you move it over to the next section, you realize it's not how you envision it, and you say, well, I'll fix it later, and you keep going. No, you want to go ahead and fix it. As a matter of fact, let's back up. We said not to jump around. Why? Because you lose consistency when you do that. Unless you are fading in sections, and even fading in sections, when you see an individual who fade in sections, you'll see that they carry that tip of that first section into the next section. That section into the next section. Okay? So that allows them to keep that consistency and not lose it. So again, this is where the problem starts or begins when you jump around. You don't want to jump around. You want to maintain that consistency, whether you're fading top to bottom, bottom to top, in sections, or the full step, the full guideline. If you're following the full guideline, if you're doing it all the way around the head, make sure you stay consistent with your system and not jump around with it. That's number 3. So just a quick reminder with the 3 points: start with the end in mind, break the head into sections. That's important because every section has a purpose. And lastly, you want to stop cutting and start building. In other words, every cut should be placed and intentional, not random and sporadic. You're not just removing hair, you're building a shape. So build with intent and the shape will follow. All right. So real talk before we close out. Some real talk here. I'm missing these here. Hence precision haircuts. Yes, exactly. Precision haircuts. This is good to know. I wish I went in cosmetology. I wish I went into it in cosmetology. Well, from my understandings, y'all get the clipper training, but it's not as in depth as it is for barbering, which is why I end up, when I found out here in the state of South Carolina that master hair care was under barbering, I just went ahead and, did that because I wanted to be able to do it if I wanted to, even though my specialty is Afro texture hair. And what I mean by doing it, that's coloring and doing all the other things. I learned to relax, which I don't do, perms, so let me back up. Perm for us curls the hair. Relaxing for us relaxes the curls, okay? Y'all call it a perm, but it's really, well, I ain't gonna say y'all. Lay people, those who don't know, call it perm. When a perm actually curls our hair, relaxer actually relaxes our curl. But I learned to do all of that in school. However, I choose to do Afro texture hair. Anything, locks, twists, braids, extensions, I got you. LaDosha says, when I went to a master's haircutting class taught by Philip Poloski, he taught it's not how much you take off, but how much you leave on. That's true. That's true. Because you can take off too much, and I'm gonna flip it. You can take off too much, and they have to grow it back. So I always err on the side of leaving too much on, letting them see it in the mirror, and then telling me they want to take some more off. Because we can always take it off, but you got to grow it back to put it back on. So I understand that sentiment from that perspective. LaDosha says, yeah, she is dropping. Oh, thank y'all. I appreciate it. I feel like this my lane and I have to step into it even more. I have a passion for teaching. And you know, when I was putting together this next series of Barber Knowledge Matter, that's what was weighing in on my spirit. Because right now, I'm working to get people on. It's a lot going on with individual schedule. It's okay. At the end of the day, I'm going to still bring y'all something. But this gives me the opportunity to share. And with Barber Knowledge Matters, my focus is our new barbers and master hair care, or new barber stylists, those who have been in the industry 1 to 3 years or less, and those who are considering barbering. I want to ensure that they have the knowledge and the information that's needed to help them to lay and build a strong foundation. And because I'm still fairly new in it, I feel like a lot of my experiences have weight and can carry weight in terms of helping them to formulate that foundation. So that's that on it. But I want to say thank y'all for your support. Thank y'all for the encouragement. It's tough, but it's worth it. And I know it'll be worth it for the next generation of barbers and stylists and master hair care. Yah-Tay is so talented, and so are you, LaDosha. Thank you, WK. Thank you. Yeah. Y'all they are very talented. I'm just trying to follow their lead, her and the hair oracle, Key Lolo. Great podcast and have a good night. Thank you. Thank you so much. So to prepare to close it out, I want to share some real talk points here, and I'm going to put it up as I go through them really quickly. So the first real talk point that I want to share, if you don't see it, you'll chase the whole cut. So it goes back to the first point of start with the end in mind. You got to visualize it. You have to be able to visualize the cut. Because if you can't see it, you can't cut it. You can't cut it. You want to begin with the end in mind. You should be able to verbally explain the haircut before you can begin. In order to begin, you got to see it. So if you don't see it, you're going to be chasing it the whole way through. The next real talk point I want to share is random cutting creates uneven results every time. When I talked about the randomness, you over here, you over here, you might be up here because it doesn't look like the outcome. Then you're back here. You got to have a system. Systems are going to help you get through the cut, execute, and also get the end result that the customer is envisioning or the client is envisioning. So no random cutting. We don't want to be jumping around because you lose consistency, and oftentimes you overcut and then you in that trying to fix it mode. And like LaDosha learned in one of those cutting classes about cutting too much or not leaving more on per se. So the next thing is about the mirror. The next real talk point, let me get me something to drink because I'm getting dry here. The next point I want to share is the mirror should confirm your vision and help you. I just lost the train of thought. The mirror should confirm your vision and help you where you need to be. Help with the cut if you need it. In other words, use your mirror. It's going to confirm your vision and help you where you need those adjustments with the cut. So utilize your mirror. All right. The next real talk point I want to share is slow down mentally. Slow down mentally. Slowing down mentally will speed you up physically. So if you're not rushing through the cut in your mind, you won't be rushing through the cut and physically. So if you slow down mentally, you'll be able to speed up because you got the steps and the process down. You got your system down. You'll have it down so eventually to the point you like on autopilot. You know what to do because it's motion. It's muscle memory. You got it. So slow down mentally so you can speed up physically. Because if you're moving mentally fast, you're going to mess up. So don't rush. Uh, don't rush it. Please don't rush it. Because if you do, you're bound to make a mistake if you do. You're bound to make a mistake if you do. And the last point I want to share is the best barbers are thinking 2-3 steps ahead all the time. They're always thinking about their next step. I got my first guideline in. Then I'm going to come in, open, close. Next guard, open, close. Next guard, open, close. They're always thinking a step ahead, not a few steps ahead. That's where the vision come in. They're starting with the end in mind, and they're keeping the end in mind while they're thinking 2-3 steps ahead. All right. So vision, intention, strategy. That's how you build consistency. All right. This is a lot of information. I'm gonna tell y'all something. I wish I had some shortcuts like this from a standpoint of having the information shortened. It's a lot of information when it comes down to this industry and moving in it and being able to function and do these cuts and execute these cuts, you know, and not mess up as much because you got the end in mind and you're doing things to section the head out, operate with purpose, because all of those sections in the head have purpose. All right, they do have purpose. Let me take this down, y'all. And I thank y'all for allowing me to share today about learning of my name and also my experience this weekend with Jonathan and Megan Good Majors. Like I said, y'all, they are very down to earth people, very down to earth. It was a great experience. That's all I have. I'm going to recap this really quick. Point 1, start with the end in mind. Point 2, break the head into sections. Point 3, stop cutting, start building. The real talk moments, you got to be able to see it. You don't want to be randomly cutting, not jumping around. Why? Because you lose consistency and you get off track. Okay? You can cause some problems. You can cut off too much. I'd rather not cut off enough and be able to come back and take off what has not been cut versus cutting off too much and them having to grow it back. Okay? So, in closing, your hands can only execute what your mind understands. Before you focus on speed, before you focus on perfection, focus on vision. Visualizing the outcome is where you're going to be able to execute the haircut. Focus on the vision. Visualize that outcome, because when you can see the cut clearly, guess what? You won't be reacting and you'll be creating. Okay? So focus before you focus on speed, before you focus on perfection, focus on the vision. Start with the end in mind. Visualize the outcome and execute. Execute. Cut once, Measure twice. I learned that in interior design. You measure twice, cut once. And in this case, you consult, you start with the vision, start with the end in mind, break the head into sections, and start building that cut. And remember that the sections of the head have purpose. Know the purpose of those sections, and you're going to have an unbelievable cut in the end. That's all I have for this particular series. This is series number 2 of, I'm sorry, this is episode number 2 of the series Think Like a Barber, Foundation, Focus, and Execution. We're training your mind before your hands ever touch the clippers, all right? This is ultimately what I'm working towards, is to help you to lay a foundation, be focused on executing so that your skills have structure, and your structure will ultimately build your professionalism. That's all I got. I want to say thank you to those of you who tuned in. Wike, Ladosha, thank y'all for joining. Thank you to those of you who are catching this on the replay. And once again, thank you for allowing me to share that story that I found out in reference to my name. The actor was Yafet Koto, Kotto. And it's interesting how his first name starts with a Y, his last name starts with a K. My first name starts with a Y, and my last name starts with a K. Interesting. Great revelation to know. Thank you all for joining. Until next time, enjoy. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And I'll see you next time on the next episode of Female Barber Talk with Yah-Tay. Have a great evening and enjoy the rest of your week ahead. We leaving. We out, y'all. We out.
Naturals.